Hey guys, it's story time with Mrs. Harrell. I'm here with Franny the Frog from Frog Street. She's here joining me as I do my read aloud with you all today. And it's a story that's very dear to my heart. It's one that I've loved ever since I was a preschooler, like you girls and boys. So it deals with something that it's my favorite color, and it also deals with fantasy, imagination, pretending. So here's a clue. Do you know what my favorite color is? Do you think you can guess it? Not yet? All right, here's another clue. No, not yet? All right, how about now? Did you guess purple? Oh, you guessed correctly then. Purple is my favorite color. And this crayon is a clue to the story that I'm going to read. hmm It is Harold and the Purple Crayon. Have you heard that one before? If you are in my pre K class, you've heard it before. Harold and the Purple Crayon. It's a fun story. You get to use your imagination. You get to think, activate your thinking powers and think about what you could do with a magic purple crayon. So, we're going to talk about that a little bit after I read the story Harold and the Purple Crayon. Franny, are you ready for the story? I think she's ready. Here we go. Harold and the Purple Crayon. Harold and the Purple Crayon. One evening, after thinking it over for some time, Harold decided to go for a walk in the moonlight. There wasn't any moon, and Harold needed a moon for a walk in the moonlight, and he needed something to draw on. Are you noticing what Harold is doing? Everything he needs and everything he wants to do, he draws it with his magic purple crayon. He made a long, straight path so he wouldn't get lost. And he set off on his walk, taking his big purple crayon with him. But he didn't seem to be getting anywhere on the long, straight path. And so he left the path for a shortcut across the field, and the moon went with him. The shortcut led right to where Harold thought a forest ought to be. Forest. That's a different word, isn't it? Do you know what a forest is? A forest is a place where there are lots and lots of trees. So Harold thought this would be a perfect place for a forest. He didn't want to get lost in the woods. We can use the words woods or forest simultaneously or interchangeably. It means the same thing. He didn't want to get lost in the woods, so he made a very small forest with just one tree in it. That's not really a forest, but don't tell Harold. It turned out to be an apple tree. Oh, the apples would be very tasty, Harold thought, when they got red. I'm wondering how purple apples could ever turn red. What do you think? Hmm. So Harold put a frightening dragon under the tree to guard the apples. Oh, it was a terribly frightening dragon. Look at it. Look at Harold's expression on his face. That dragon even frightened Harold. He backed away, and his hand, holding the purple crayon, shook. Let's take a look. Here's a nice little curvy line. Now suddenly his hand is shaking and I'm thinking that looks like something familiar. Do you have any thoughts about what's going to happen next? What he's drawing with his magic purple crayon? You have a guess? When you guess about something that's going to happen next while you're reading, it's called making a prediction. So let's see if your prediction is correct. Suddenly, Harold realized what was happening, but by then, Harold was over his head in an ocean. Did you predict that those wavy lines was going to be water? If you did, kiss your brain. What a smart prediction you made. Poor Harold is over his head in an ocean. He came up thinking fast, though, and in no time he was climbing aboard a trim little boat. And did you notice the moon is following Harold? He quickly set sail, and the moon sailed along with him. After he had sailed long enough, Harold made land without much trouble, and he stepped ashore on the beach, wondering where he was. Are you wondering where he was, Franny? I'm wondering where he was. The sandy beach reminded Harold of picnics, and the thought of picnics made Harold hungry. So he laid out a nice, simple picnic lunch. Wonder what's for lunch. Oh, look at that. There was nothing but pie, but there were all 9 kinds of pie that Harold liked best. 9 kinds of pie? Let's count these pies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 kinds of pies. When Harold finished his picnic, there was quite a lot left. He hated to see so much delicious pie go to waste. Oh, looks like he's drawing something there. I'm wondering what it is. Do you have a prediction about what type of? Looks like it's going to be some type of animal. What's your prediction? Let's see if you're right. Oh, Harold left a very deserving moose and a deserving porcupine to finish it up. So he actually drew 2 animals, a moose and a porcupine. Did you predict either one of those animals? And off he went, looking for a hill to climb to see where he was. Harold knew that the higher up he went, the farther he could see, so he decided to make the hill into a mountain. If he went high enough, he thought, he could see the window of his bedroom. I sure hope he can find it. Harold's quite lost. He was tired and he felt he ought to be getting to bed. He hoped he could see his bedroom window from the top of the mountain. But as he looked down over the other side of the mountain, he slipped and there wasn't. There wasn't any other side of the mountain. Harold was falling in thin air. What is he going to do? What is he going to do with that magic purple crayon? He better think of something fast. Oh, luckily he kept his wits about him and his purple crayon, and he made a balloon and grabbed onto it. Were you thinking that's what he was going to do? Harold made a basket under the balloon big enough to stand in. Oh, he had a fine view from the balloon, but he couldn't see his window. He couldn't even see a house. Franny, you hear that? He couldn't even see a house. So he made a house with windows, and he landed the balloon on the grass in the front yard. None of the windows was his window. He tried to think where his window ought to be. Where is Harold's window? He made some more windows. He made a big building full of windows. He made lots of buildings full of windows. He made a whole city full of windows. But none of the windows was his window. He couldn't think where it might be. He decided to ask a policeman. The policeman pointed the way that Harold was going anyway, but Harold thanked him. Harold's got manners. And he walked along with the moon, wishing he was in his room and in bed. Then suddenly, Harold remembered. He remembered where his bedroom window was when there was a moon. It was always right around the moon. And then Harold made his bed. He got in it and he drew up the covers. That's a little joke there, guys. He drew up the covers. The purple crayon dropped on the floor and Harold dropped off to sleep. The end. I'm going to ask Franny to hold my book for me. Franny, will you hold my book for me? Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, guys. What'd you think about that story, Harold and the Purple Crayon? You enjoyed it? Good. I'm glad you did. So this is what I'd like you guys to do for me. I'd like for you to take some time now, ask your grown-ups for some paper and a purple crayon. If you look in your resource packet that I sent home with you, there's drawing paper, there are crayons, there's lots of things that you can use to be creative. Please draw me a picture of something that you wish you could create if you had a magic purple crayon. Now remember, you don't have to choose something ordinary. It could be the most fantastic thing ever that you can think of. But draw a picture of it for me. Have your parents take a picture and upload it to Google Classroom so that I can see how your imagination is working. Can you do that for me? That would be awesome. Until next time, this is Mrs. Harrell reading to you from home during our coronavirus quarantine. Love you guys. Mwah.